This is the Chemistry 121 lab safety video for preparation and properties of oxygen. Oxygen gas makes up 20% of the air that we breathe. It is the most abundant element in the Earth's crust, and it is in many compounds essential for our lives on Earth. In this lab, you will be producing oxygen gas, or O2, by decomposing hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide decomposes naturally into oxygen gas and water. This process occurs very slowly at room temperature, and hydrogen peroxide is commonly stored in dark bottles to slow the process even further. For the purposes of this lab, we will be speeding up the process by adding a catalyst called manganese dioxide. After producing oxygen gas and filling bottles with it, we will test some properties of oxygen through a series of short experiments. In this lab, you will be using chemicals, so safety goggles should be worn at all times. We are using concentrated hydrogen peroxide, 30%, which is corrosive and will damage your skin. If you get hydrogen peroxide in your skin, wash it off immediately. Some of the short experiments to test the properties of oxygen will produce toxic gases and should be performed in a fume hood, like the one behind me, while other experiments can be done safely on the bench top. Read your lab handout carefully for directions about when to use a fume hood and when to do experiments on the lab bench. We will be collecting oxygen produced by decomposing hydrogen peroxide in glass bottles using a pneumatic trough. The hydrogen peroxide and the catalyst will be mixed in an Erlenmeyer flask attached to a ring stand. The oxygen gas that is produced will be pushed through rubber tubing into the bottom of the trough that's filled with water. As the oxygen gas bubbles through the trough, you'll be putting an upside-down glass bottle filled with water over top of the bubbling gas to collect it. In this lab, we will be using a Bunsen burners to test some of the properties of oxygen. Before using fire in the lab, tie back long hair and remove any dangling pieces of clothing. Begin by attaching the end of a hose to the propane gas nozzle in the middle of the lab bench. Turn on the gas by moving the handle so that it is directly over the nozzle. Then, use a striker to light the Bunsen burner. We can adjust the height of the flame by moving the handle on the valve halfway closed. To turn off the flame, we'll turn the handle so that it's perpendicular to the nozzle. I'm going to show you how to light a Bunsen burner. I have my striker at the ready. I'm going to open my gas valve. I can hear the gas coming out of the Bunsen burner. I use the striker to light the Bunsen burner flame. If I think it's too tall, I can go over to the handle, close it halfway, and it causes the flame to get smaller and smaller and smaller until it's a more comfortable height. If I close it all the way so it's perpendicular, my Bunsen burner turns off. Always stay near your Bunsen burner. Never leave a lit Bunsen burner unattended. All liquid and solid waste produced in this experiment should be disposed of in labeled waste containers in the fume hood. Do not pour unknown liquids or solids down the drain. The only substance that can be poured down the drain is tap water and pure deionized water. Any used matches, paper towels, or items that you might produce at home can go in the trash can. Before you leave, make sure you clean, dry, and put all equipment back where you found it, whether it's from a cart, from your lab box, or from a shelf. Wipe off your lab bench and wash your hands. Then get ready to analyze your data.